This year says Arsenal will win the league when humans travel to the sun. It's what Abraham Glazer says. Thoughts on Arsenal trying the Barella swoop? Well, there's Barella links, and there's also links to Douglas Luiz again, another ex-City player, actually. I often forget he played for you guys that Arsenal are linked with. There are still talks. Miguel Delaney spoke about this for a few days now, that Arsenal, if they sell Balogun, will go in for another midfielder. Douglas Luiz's name's come up. Barella's name has come up. Of course, Lavia's name has come up as well. But Arsenal, it seems like they're serious. Like they've got Raya in. They beat you at the weekend. And, they're looking to really improve their team. Do you feel like one more player would be enough for them? Or do you think they're missing some areas like a prolific number 9?
I thought the midfield was all right weekend. I thought the midfield looks okay. It's just, I think when your main man's out, Jesus, who's not really the main man, he's never getting you 25 goals, and you're playing Kai Havertz up front, then that's the problem for me. So I believe they need a proper striker. I believe Balogun's capable of it. Eddie Nketiah, to me, no, he's not going to win you a league. Kai Havertz up front won't win you a league. And Gabriel Jesus up front won't win you a league. But I'm not Arsenal manager, He's got his plans. He needs, but there's a very, very shortage of them kind of strikers out there at the minute. You can go and pick someone off the shelf from another league, but it's a gamble in the Prem. But I don't know. I just believe they're short of a 20-plus striker. I think the Arsenal midfield is okay. They've got enough bodies in there for me.
Yeah, look, I like Douglas Luiz. I think he's good. There's just something about it. And again, a Guna I know quite well said to me yesterday, he said, once Monaco get Zakaria from Juve, expect to see Juve go for Thomas Partey. And I'm like, Partey's staying. And he's like, not what he's heard. He goes, he still thinks there's a world where Partey leaves this summer and a Lavia or a Douglas Luiz or someone of that level comes in. Now, for me, I think that would be a mistake if they were to do that. I still think Partey's got 2 or 3 years left at the absolute top that I think go and get Luiz, go and get Lavia, but you cannot allow Thomas Partey to leave. And there are still some gooners online that think that's going to happen. And it's weird because I don't know. I sort of look at it along the lines of you want to be bolstering those areas and having an abundance of talent, maybe not weakening it. I don't know. For me, I don't think he's leaving. I don't think he should leave. And again, if I was to buy someone, look, Lavia, Douglas Luiz, who do you think would fit best?
Well, Arsenal.
Well, but yeah, both ex-City players. Obviously, you know them both to a degree in terms of their qualities.
I think Luiz is a good player. I think Lavia's got a good ceiling. He's very, very young. You know what I mean? I think Romeo is going to be a great player. So whoever gets him and takes the punt on him now, you might not see the rewards after one season. You might just see him ticking along nice. But when he gets into his stride and gets more games under his belt, I believe he'll be quality. You know what I mean? City wanted to keep him, but I think they didn't really trust him to be understudy to Rodri. I just didn't think they didn't think he was that far along in his development to where going for a title he could come in the games late on. So they went and bought Phillips. It proved that Phillips he wasn't the answer. They couldn't trust him, so we dropped a clanger with him. When we see Lavia in the Premier League, he was holding his own. He looked really well. Some games he dominated himself at 19-year-old. So I think it was a drop ball by City, but they're going to profit from it anyway. But I think in an ideal world, they wanted another season that's Southampton and then City go and get him back. But I think the City boat sailed. I think he'll move on. But if Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea get him, I think you'll see a fantastic player in Lavia.
Yeah, no, there's a very, very good player in there indeed. JTT here says, do you think Kane would move to Arsenal for a Premier League?
I don't think that. I think they'd burn the stadium down, Tottenham fans. If that
it would be. I've said it before. Like, I don't think there's as much loyalty in football as people make out, and I get that. I don't want him to go to Arsenal because he would make them an even better team. But there's a part of me that would love to watch the fallout of that. Does that make sense? Just sit back, some popcorn, the fan cams and the reactions from Spurs fans to that would be.
Sol Campbell. Remember Sol Campbell?
Oh, yeah, we're old enough to remember that. It was. Imagine being able to record. No one did it back then. The reactions to that happening. Honestly, I think it could win Oscars. It could win Emmys. It could win BAFTAs watching Spurs fans react to that happening. I don't think it will happen, but can you imagine? Arsenal Fever's back here and says, small team, laughing my ass off. You can't even fill a stadium. No one gives a rat's butt if you win the league or Champions League or whatever. Think about that. Think before you speak, Mr. Waffler.
See how easy it is to trigger him. You know what I mean? Only made one off the cuff comment. We can fill a trophy cabinet, our kid. Don't worry about that. Thanks for the $5.
Arteta is going to make Pep his little bitch, is what he thinks as well.
This is what I'm saying. You know, this is the kind of abuse we're getting now. You know, this is the kind of the way they're talking. You know, and then, but what they do is they say, we're not all like that, Steve. We don't all speak like that, Steve. But the majority of them do. So, you know, it is what it is.
He also here says City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are small clubs.
There you go. We'll see. They've won a Charity Shield, man. It's gone to the red.
It's crazy. There's 9 Champions Leagues between those 3 clubs, my friend. There's 9 Champions Leagues, and how many league titles? 19 plus what are you guys on now? 10?
What we're on, 7, 8, 9.
9. So you're on 9. They're on 19. So what we're looking at there, we're looking at 28 plus Chelsea are on about 6. So you're looking at 34, 35 league titles and 9 Champions League small clubs. Come on, my friend.
You know, on Sunday, I left the stadium after the game. I was actually on the pitch when the Arsenal boys were taking the Charity Shield about, yeah. So I was there front row with it. Fair play, they were doing what they were doing. But I went round to AFTV after the game, and there must have been 200 people there, yeah. All Arsenal. I'm the only one City walking around there, yeah. And I did my fan camp, which you can see on AFTV. I think it was fair enough what we said. I was still sat outside the stadium on the steps talking to 50, 60 Arsenal fans at 25 to 11 at night. Yeah.
Jesus.
So all these Arsenal fans, yeah, the ones on here that think Big Steve hates Arsenal and does this, yeah. I was there for hours, mate, talking football to all the kids. All the Arsenal, and you know what? The Arsenal fan base, a lot of them do respect me, and I respect them. You know what I mean? And I was chatting to them and I was trying to say to some of them, calm it down, man. Cecil was there. Cecil walked back with me, and I said, I told on the terrace I was going to throw you in the fucking bin, but I'm going to let you off today. Ty was with us as well, and I get it, mate. You know what I mean? I get it. From the outside in, people go mad at Arsenal fans for what they react, but I think being with them, and I think they're just starving of a bit of excitement and success. And I'm not patronising. I'm telling you the truth. When I was talking to all the young kids, they were like, a lot of them were like, they'd never seen Thierry Henry and the Invincible days. So the older guys were harping on about that, and they've never seen it. So they're desperate for it. You know what I mean? So when you see a lot of the reactionary stuff from the Arsenal lads, it's because they get excited because they think it's going to happen. But and it's a mad melting pot of Arsenal fans. So you've got the proper old school guys that are like more mellow. You've got Turkish and that who've got a certain level of expectation because they was around with the Invincibles. So they expect Arsenal to be here. And then you've got all the younger guys that are just sort of floating around in the middle who will like take anything as like a success. You know what I mean? But I had some fun, man, Sunday night, to be fair. And all them Arsenal fans, it was a good chat, man. For 4 or 5 hours, Big Steve didn't get no sleep.
Nice, mate. Nice. And you know what it is like that. It shows how it shows to me like that type of football banter and rivalry also is better because 30 years ago you couldn't have gone and stood with a group of Arsenal fans after a game like that because it was just too nasty. And now it's not about that. It's just it is more fun. It is more family friendly in that regard. There are trouble at games at times. There definitely is, but it's good you're able to do that. AMT says I'm an Arsenal.
Do you know what happened? Yeah. While we was talking on AFTV, the Arsenal team bus came out of the stadium late on, and they all ran to the bus, yeah. But fair play, they won a Charity Shield, they were buzzing. Someone from the Arsenal that was at the front of the bus with a Charity Shield at the window, and they were going mad, mate, mad, and it just made me smile. But you know what? To them, they were buzzing off it. But It's the guy with the voodoo shit that scares me. He got hold of me. Remember the guy with the voodoo doll? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going near. He got hold of me outside the stadium, and he come and shook my hand. So I think I've got the Yaya Toure curse. So if Man City get relegated this season, yeah, it's his fucking fault.
I love Kelechi. Years back when I was working in the bank, I was in this bar in the middle of Canary Wharf. Like, no one knew what I used to do back then. And he came up behind me and like shook me like this. And I turned around, hit myself. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And everyone's like, everyone in the bar knew who he was because AFTV were huge at that point. He's a good guy. He's actually a good guy, Kelechi. I got a lot of time for him. He's a real good dude.
And do you know what? I've got to give big respect to Ty, yeah, because Ty gets a lot of shit, right? And I listened to him and he did his thing. He was fine. And then when I did my bit about City in the game, he came up, he pulled me to one side, yeah, and he said, respect to you, Steve. Then he said, because I was going to give Man City fans loads of shit online. He went, but the way you've just spoke then, I've changed my mind. And he shook my hand and he was dead respectful. And I thought it was nice from him because I think people have been getting on his case, so he was getting a bit wound up. And then when he heard me speak and I saw I was tried to be balanced, it calmed him down. But he's a great guy, him, man. He's a proper football geezer, him. He's an
anorak. He is a football, and I love football, not to that point. This guy watches the under 15 boys and girls teams of Arsenal. He is just, if you cut him in half, it'd be like a stick of rock. He'd have Arsenal written through him, and you got to respect that. I think he basically every available penny he has gets spent on Arsenal.
I respect him, you know, and I love people like that. And he a lot of the younger guys were looking after him and that. But I've only met him a handful of times, you know what I mean? But and people wind him up and they like to get on his case. But I tell you what, as a football fan, they don't get bigger than him.
There's a story I heard once, who he changed his surname to Burnley. So his name was Dave Burnley, Burnley fan, changed it. And this guy was, I think a YouTube channel did a video on him. And this guy didn't miss a Burnley game for like the last 45, 50 years. Like missed his own sister's wedding, missed like funeral, like he just dedicated. And when Burnley was a very, very small club, he used to go on their preseason tours and no fans went. They were tiny and they were in Spain somewhere playing. And he was about 35 at the time. And he's there. He's the only person watching his pre-season game. And they ended up getting 2 or 3 injuries. And he got the opportunity to go on and play. They said, do you want to come on and just sit at left back for us and just be a body type thing? And I'm like, I love when fans, it's harder at Arsenal to get the same level of recognition. But I like it when fans do. Because people like Ty, people like this Dave Burnley guy, there's only, even at a club the size of Arsenal, you only really get a very small percentage that are that dedicated to a club and are willing to sacrifice anything for it. And yeah, I do respect it. This super chat here says, I'm an Arsenal fan, but that type of comment is just crap. Obviously talking about Arsenal fever a little bit earlier. We'll come back to that one. Arsenal fans are really starving 20 years. I understand. Arsenal fever is crazy. I apologize on his behalf, is what's been said there. I was going to ask you as well. There was one other. We spoke about that. In terms of the season predictions and viewers, we're going to start taking some of your predictions now. We are going to do it on the Top 6 show at 6 today as well. But in terms of, we'll do it in a set. We'll do it Champions League qualification. So coming 5th, who are you putting in 5th this year, mate?
5th, I'm going to put Spurs.
Spurs in 5th. That's interesting. A lot of their fans I've seen online are talking about 7th, 8th, 9th. But yeah, 5th for Spurs. 4th.
So I'm going to go United.
Oh, disappoint me. 3rd place?
Arsenal.
Arsenal 3rd. Gooners, what are you saying about that one? Arsenal fever is going to be raging. 2nd place?
Liverpool.
And you're going for the 4P, I assume. Who are your champions going to be?
Luton. City,
Clip it up, KJ.
Yeah. No, Yeah, we're going for it. We're going for it. I can't knock back in City. I'm going for it. So City, Liverpool, Arsenal, United, Tottenham. And the Tottenham one's based on Harry Kane being there or them bringing in a big striker if he goes. But I just don't think Newcastle are quite there yet. I just expected them to have a better window, bring in a few more key players. But I understand what they're doing. I understand that the problem Newcastle have got now, what people need to understand is that, yeah, they've got the money, but people have got to believe in the project. You've got to sell them the project. So you get a player now and he looks at Newcastle and they say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Or they might go for the money, but then Saudi Arabia, you're going to go Saudi for the money. So we had a mercenary stage at City where we signed Adebayor, Bellamy, do you know what I mean? Roque Santa Cruz, people like that, where they had a one good season and we went out and grabbed them and tried to make it. It didn't work. But the one marquee when Tevez signed, and then David Silva, Sergio Aguero, Yaya Toure, they all followed. That's when people thought, I want to be a part of that. That's happening. And I think that's what will happen with Newcastle. Next season, they'll take another step, bring in this big one. A big one, though, like Tevez was big, man. To leave Man United to come to City, it wasn't like a Robinho one where the money obviously swayed him. It was like a big one where he was like, hold on a minute, fucking hell, Tevez. And then the rest followed. And I think that's what will happen. They got Tonali in, they've got Isaac, one or two knocking about. But I think why Newcastle aren't in for Harry Kane at 100 mil, I don't know. He could be, if I'm Newcastle, I'm going in at Tottenham. I'm saying there's 120 mil. I'm saying to Harry Kane, you're going to smash us to our first league title in how many years? You're going to take us to Champions League glory. We've got a 4-year plan. We're going to behind you. You're getting all the image rights. You're our new number 9 at Newcastle. Them fucking mad Geordies up there would love him. It'd go off. Harry Kane in Newcastle would go off. And that's what I'd be doing if I'm chairman of Newcastle. He's my marquee. And everybody else would follow me there. But
I hear you on that. A few Chelsea fans in the comments are asking, where do you think Chelsea will finish?
I think they'll finish 6th.
And what, Newcastle 7th or Villa? A lot of people tipping Villa today. I've seen people tipping Villa for top 4 this year.
Nah, what happened? They've had a good window and it happens all the time. You look at the dark horse, you think it's great, but it won't happen. The consistency is not there. Villa need another couple of seasons. And then if they carry on that trajectory with the signings and the manager, yeah, very much so. But I think it'll be 6th, 7th, 8th, Villa, something like that.